Hi there, it's Gabriel from Clastify Tutorials. Diving into your economics IA can feel like navigating through a complex marketplace where each decision impacts your final outcome, your IA grade. To make sure you get the top one, today we're revealing the most common mistakes students make in their economics IAs and how you can avoid them. Whether you're just starting or refining your draft, this guide has got you covered. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and visit Clastify for many marked IAs. Ready to move on? Let's get into it. Picking an article that tries to cover the whole economic landscape in one go is like trying to summarize the entire Game of Thrones series in a single tweet. Crucial details get lost. Imagine selecting an article that discusses both fiscal and monetary policy changes in response to an economic downturn. The 800-word limit of your commentary means you can't possibly do justice to both topics. The solution to that would be to find an article with more narrow focus. For instance, if you stumble upon a comprehensive piece on the European Central Bank's monetary policy adjustments and government fiscal stimulus in response to the recession, just zoom in on one aspect, like the impact of lowered interest rates on consumer spending. This selective approach helps you craft a coherent and in-depth analysis within the word limit. The next common mistake is discussing policies and not connecting them to the article's concepts. Imagine this. Sometimes the IAs we see are like a jar of economic terms which float around. They're not properly linked to real-world examples provided by the chosen articles, so they're like a meaningless mass. You have to add the context to each term. For example, discussing the imposition of tariffs without showing how it directly relates to the concept of government intervention in the article leaves a gap in your analysis. So if your chosen article discusses the introduction of tariffs on imported steel, directly quote the article to show how this policy is an example of government intervention to protect domestic industries. Then connect this back to your key concept by discussing the intended and unintended effects of such intervention on different economic agents. Moving on to our next mistake, students often focus completely on how a new tax impacts consumers, neglecting its ripple effects on producers, the government, and even the environment. So what you need to do here is to broaden your lens. If you're analyzing sugar tax, don't just consider its deterrent effect on consumption. Explore how it might affect sugar producers, like potential revenue loss, or the government with tax revenue for health initiatives and broader social impacts like health outcomes. This 360-degree view shows a fuller picture of the economic narrative and showcases your ability to think critically about economic policies. The next very common mistake is not labeling graphs in your IA, which are later like a compass without a needle. An example of this mistake is drawing a demand curve for coffee without specifying the axis of price per kilo and quantity of coffee in kilos. A simple yet very important fix to this is to pay attention to details. Every graph should have its axis precisely labeled with both the variable and the unit of measurement, like price in USD and quantity in units. This not only clarifies your analysis, but also demonstrates your understanding of economic principles through accurate graphical representation. Then we have another very common mistake, not referring back to key concepts. To show an example, imagine mentioning scarcity at the start of your IA and then never linking your discussion on, let's say, water rationing policies back to this fundamental economic problem. So what you could do to avoid it is to constantly weave your key concept throughout your commentary. If scarcity is your chosen concept, consistently highlight how the rationing policy aims to address this issue by allocating water more efficiently among consumers. Relate each point of analysis back to scarcity to remind readers of the economic principle driving your investigation. And that's also how you get the top score in this criterion. And there you have it, a roadmap to avoiding common mistakes in your economics IA. Remember, the key to getting a 7 in your IA lies in clarity, focus, and thorough analysis. By steering clear of these mistakes, you'll definitely improve your IA grade. If you found these tips helpful, give us a thumbs up and share any questions or additional tips you have in the comments. Stay curious and keep analyzing the economic world around you. For more guidance on acing your economics IA and other insightful content, keep it locked on Clastify Tutorials. Until next time, and happy analyzing!